What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first YouTube video in honestly quite some time. I know it's been pretty inconsistent on this channel on the YouTube, but gonna try and get a little bit more consistent here. It's just been tough, super busy time of year, holiday season, school and stuff. But currently on break, thought I'd get a video out. We have some huge news about the Buffalo Sabres. Just came out. I think it was just yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. At this point, days are kind of just blundering together at this point, but. GM Kevin Adams has been fired, relieved of his duties as the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. Uh, During the road trip, this was kind of, hinted at, and people were talking about. There's a lot of buzz going about it. And we actually found out that the decision was kind of made before the road trip. So before the road trip even happened, where the Sabres had a good road trip. They went 3-3, 500, lost the first 3 games, won the last 3, so they bounced back pretty well. Um, but yeah, we kind of knew or they knew in the front office that Kevin Adams was going to be gone once the road trip ended, and then I think we found out on Monday, so it would be 2 days ago as of now that he would be gone. And then yesterday, Jarmo Kekalainen, the new GM of the Sabres, who was previously the senior advisor, he held his first press conference. Basically, just introduced himself. People got to ask him questions and stuff. Honestly, I thought it was super promising. I liked a lot of what he had to say about his plans and kind of his thought process in terms of being a general manager for the hockey team. But yeah, I mean, in this video, I'm pretty much just going to talk about, you know, what he's kind of faced with, in terms of contracts, trades, roster moves, honestly, front office decisions, coaching, all that stuff. So, before I get into all that, make sure to go follow me on TikTok, Instagram, X, all platforms. It's just the same username and everything. Buffalo Banter. I'd appreciate if you showed some love on every platform. But yeah, let's get right into it. I think the first thing that we really need to worry about is Alex Tuck and his contract. Obviously, Tuck at the current moment has a cap hit of 4.75 million, which is honestly a bargain for how good he is right now. But obviously, he's 29 years old. He's going to be a UFA at the end of the season. The Sabres are going to have to pay him or move on from him. You can't just let him, walk into free agency. So, uh, Yarmo in yesterday's press conference pretty much said that he wants to re-sign Tuck and that like he's a key piece of this team, which obviously I think we can all agree on. Um, Leading the Sabres in points at the current moment. He's one of the best two-way forwards in the NHL, in my opinion. He's very good defensively as well. So that's definitely a guy the Sabres need to bring back. Only problem is he's asking for a lot of money. He's kind of in the range of Adrian Kempe, who I believe got 10.65 million, which I think is fair. Him and Kempe have produced pretty much the same. I think they're both pretty good defensively too. So I think that's a good price range for Tuck, but Sabres have the cap to do it in the following years. It's just a matter of if they can find the right number. But I think it is super promising that Yarmo kind of is he wants to keep Tuck around, which I mean I want to keep Tuck around. I think most of fans want to keep Tuck around. He's a Buffalo guy. He's from the area. He's from Syracuse, actually. Grew up a Sabres fan, all that stuff. So I think keeping him is super important. Tuck was actually just interviewed this morning about the contract negotiations and everything, and basically just said he's letting his agent handle all of that. But he has full trust in his agent and Yarmo to find a good number, and that Alex will be pretty much updated with whatever number they find if they find a number that they can agree on. But they would have to be really, really far away in terms of a number if Tuck were to get traded. I would be very surprised if they did move on from him. Just because he's such a key piece. He's a assistant captain on the team. I don't know. He's right in his prime. He's playing some of the best hockey of his career right now. I don't know if I'd like an 8-year deal at 10 to 11 million. I'd probably prefer like a 5 or 6 year, but it's just going to depend on what it comes down to. But yeah, in terms of Alex Tuck, sounds like they're trying to get a deal done. I'd be very surprised if he got traded. So moving on to the next free agent for next year, Peyton Krebs. He's an RFA. He's 24 years old. Pretty much just sitting on the fourth line right now. For some reason, he was getting first line minutes at the end of the road trip playing with Josh Doan and Tage, and I didn't really understand that. He's just at this point in his career not a first line caliber player, which is unfortunate because as a prospect, he was, one of the top prospects coming out of his class. But I don't know if his development got killed by the Sabres or if Vegas. I forgot if he played for Vegas or not for any time, but he came over in that Tuck trade and he just didn't develop properly. But he's an RFA. I'd be surprised, honestly, if they kept him. They have enough fourth liners where I don't think an undersized 24-year-old really makes sense to keep around, but we'll see what they do. Next guy, Beck Malenstein. He's a UFA at the end of the season. He's 27 years old. I wouldn't mind if they brought him back for another, I don't know, like 1 to 3 years. I think he's a fantastic fourth liner. One of the more physical players on the Sabres fourth line, and I really like what he does for them. One of the more physical players on the Sabres team in general. So I really like what he does. Wouldn't mind if Yarmo brought him back on a couple year deal for the fourth line. Next up, we got a couple interesting guys here. You got Zach Benson, 20-year-old RFA. Benson's tough because his first two seasons, he hovered around 30 points. Sabres played him in the NHL right out of the draft, which I was a little bit surprised by. He's just a little undersized coming out of the draft, but this year I've really liked his game. At the moment, he has 12 points. 12, I think it's 12 points in 18 games. Might be 13, but he's having a good season for what it's worth. I really like his game. I think he's kind of like that little pesty player. He feels like a Walmart version of Brad Marchand, which hopefully he can just turn into a Brad Marchand. I think that would be awesome. But he's tough because do the Sabres qualify him? Do they give him an extension? It seems like a lot of extensions these days in the NHL are kind of based off potential versus, where the player's actually at right now. So it'll be interesting to see what Benson does or what they do with Benson. I personally don't know what they're going to do with him. I'd be, expect anything because anything could happen. Next guy up, this is a big one. Josh Stone, 23-year-old RFA. He's making 925,000 right now. He might be the Sabres' best forward at the current moment in terms of like analytics wise. He has been absolutely outstanding. He's top 5 on the team in points. He's having actually, let me check that. He's having a fantastic year. Let's see. Yeah, he has 23 points in 32 games. He's a -6, but he's been great defensively too. He's like top 5 in the league in takeaways, I'm pretty sure too. Um so he's great at pickpocketing. This is a guy the Sabres need to get back. He's a great culture guy. When we traded for him from Utah, everyone was so sad that Doan was leaving because everyone loved him. Same with Kesselring, but Doan's just he's going to be part of the core of this team for a long time. I would really like if they locked him up long term as well. But yeah, definitely a guy that they need to keep. But I'd be surprised if they did anything midseason. But we'll see what they do with him. And then last free agent is Josh Dunn. Spent most of his career or most of his tenure with the organization with Rochester so far, but has gotten a lot of looks in the NHL this year, and he will be a UFA at the end of the season. I wouldn't expect them to extend him in any sort of way. They might just bring him back in free agency once he becomes a UFA at the end of the season, but definitely, not a huge priority, but he's not a bad fourth liner here either. I haven't hated what he's done. The decor is locked up. A lot of it's locked up for a while. You got Rasmus for until 2032. You got Power, unfortunately, till 2031. You got Samuelson till 2030. I think I wouldn't mind seeing them move on from Power. He's still 23, but he's just not showing much right now, man. He's not good defensively. And if he's not good defensively, you'd hope he's being better offensively, but he has like 7 or 8 points in like 30-ish games. It's just not good enough, especially for a guy making $8 million. So I hope he turns into something. If not, I wouldn't mind seeing the Sabres trade him. But yeah, you got Samuelson until 2030. Those 3 are locked up. Byram's an interesting one because obviously they just signed him 2 years, 6.25 million this offseason. And I wouldn't say he's been like special this season, but he's scored a good amount of goals, honestly. And I think he's more of a trade piece, if I'm being honest. We saw that the Sabres actually did try to make a move for Quinn Hughes. I don't really understand why they would do that. because we already have our number one defenseman in Darlene, but whatever. Byram was in a trade package for Quinn Hughes. Him and Benson were in the package, so um, it looks like Byram's pretty expendable. I don't know how he feels in terms of like happiness with Buffalo, but I wouldn't be surprised if Byram got moved, sometime sooner at the deadline or something. I wouldn't hate if we kept him either. I think he's a very good player, but um, just seems like one of those players that's pretty expendable. Moving on, another RFA, Michael Kesselring. He's played 9 games for the Sabres. Hasn't shown a ton, but that's not really his game. Like he's not gonna be super flashy. We need him to be a stay-at-home right-handed defenseman, and if he can be that, then I think he's spectacular. Um, he's 25. He'll be an RFA at the end of the season. He'll be a UFA after next season. So we'll see what the Sabres do with him. If they just qualify him, or if they extend him. I think he's another guy we probably won't see a move until the offseason. I'd be surprised if they did anything midseason. But yeah, I haven't disliked Kessering's game when he's played, but again, nothing flashy. But I don't think that's really his game, anyways. And then Jacob Bryson, he's a UFA at the end of the season. No real reason to bring him back, honestly. Um, if it is, it should be on like a two-way deal or something. He's been, honestly, when he's come up and had to play in place of like a guy who got injured, I haven't like hated what he's done, but just kind of meh at this point. There's a couple guys in Rochester that I think would deserve some playing time over him. Guys like Novikov, Komarov, even Metza, to get more looks over him. So I wouldn't be too thrilled if they brought him back, but we'll see. Next challenge for Jarmo. This will be for the rest of the season. He talked about in his press conference yesterday, and that's getting the goalie tandem down to 2. At the moment, the Sabres are playing 3 goalies, and it's not working. They got UPL, they got Alex Line, and they got Colin Ellis. This is not a recipe for success. Basically, what they've been doing is they're playing the hot hand, whatever, and then as soon as a goalie loses a game, the next goalie starts to play again. So luckily, Colin Ellis, he's on a 3-game bender right now. He's won 3 in a row to finish the road trip. He's going to start on Thursday against Philly. So hopefully he, continues his winning ways. But he talked about it yesterday. I think they're going to get to it eventually, that they need to get this goalie situation down to 2 goalies, whether that's a trade, sending someone through waivers. Probably it would be Colin Ellis through waivers. However, Colin Ellis is currently hurt right now because he sustained that concussion against, I believe, Seattle. So it's an interesting situation. You got UPL on a $4.75 million deal for the next 4 years. This was a bad contract to begin with. He played one good half of a season for like 30 games, and we just gave him a long extension. I didn't like it, but they're kind of stuck with him, it feels like. Alex Line's been honestly fantastic, I think. He's only on $1.5 million deal for this season and next season. And he's honestly been the best goalie that we have, in my opinion. He's been the most consistent. I don't know what they're going to do with the goalie situation, though. I want them to trade UPL because he has the highest cap hit. And honestly, he's been the worst of the goalies. But what's the market for him is the problem. Like, what team is willing to take that contract and kind of bank on his upside and hope that he can, reach that form that he reached? I think it was the end of 2022, 2023. If they want to trade him, they're going to need to find a partner that's willing to bank on him. But right now, I'm not seeing it with him. It's just not been great. So moving on to the coaching staff. The coaching staff is interesting because I don't have a problem with Lindy Ruff. I really don't. But when Kevin hired him, it kind of felt like just a nostalgic hire. Like, he was the last coach to bring the Sabres to the playoffs. And it felt like Kevin just thought that he would be able to come in and create that same magic again, which I don't think was the right idea. But there's a lot of heat going around that John Tortorella might be the next coach of the Sabres. Which I don't know how I'd feel about. It seems like with Tortorella, every time he comes to a new team, he starts out looking great. The Sabres, or the team he's with, like, kind of buys into what he's doing. And then over time, it kind of starts to fall apart. People start to dislike him as a coach. They don't want to play for him, all that stuff. So I don't know what they're going to do. I would love Peter DeBoer too. He just got fired from Dallas during the offseason for basically one decision, and that was I think it was like switching their goalie mid round in the playoffs, which is just, I mean, wasn't a great decision, but like getting fired over that, I think is kind of crazy. I would love if the Sabres brought him in. He's a coach that knows how to win, take his team deep in the playoffs. I think the Sabres would really benefit off that. But as of today, Wednesday, December 17th at 1:13, the Sabres coach is still Lindy Ruff. He was the coach at practice this morning too. So they're riding with him for now. There's a lot of heat about Tortorella. I'd love DeBoer. People have mentioned the name Laviolette, Peter Laviolette, but he's been around the league for, a long time. He's been around the league for a long time. He's been on a lot of different teams. If he can't really stay on a team, I don't know how much I'd really love him. But Lindy Ruff's contract is up at the end of the season for the coach. Um, so I would be surprised if they fired him midseason unless the team literally goes on like a extended losing streak. Um, but it seems like as long as the team keeps up winning, he's going to stay, and there would be no reason to switch. But if the team really starts to struggle, I think they bring in a new guy and just see what happens from there. But yeah, we got trades, we got free agency. Another thing Yarmo said in the press conference is that he's going to spend to the cap, which I think is and super promising. It felt like with Kevin Adams, this free agency he was like 5 million under. He never spent to the cap to make the team as good as possible. And whenever someone asked him about it, it seemed like he was always making some excuse about how the team was already good enough. And it's like the team's clearly not good enough if they're not making the playoffs. He spend to the cap and like use all the money possible. But yeah, Yarmo said he's going to spend to the cap, and that Terry basically, gave him his blessing to take over the hockey operations of the Sabres. Um, and kind of just, do whatever Yarmo thinks is going to be best for the team. And I really do trust him. I think he's going to be a lot better for the organization. Better than Kevin. And this is the first GM in nearly 50 years that has come in with prior GM experience. First guy since Scotty Bowman back in like 1979. So I haven't even been alive for the Sabres to have a GM with prior GM experience. We'll see how he does. I'm super excited that he's been promoted, and I think it's super promising that uh, Terry just gave basically Yarmo his permission to just take over hockey operations, do whatever he wants with the coaching, the scouting, management, all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see what the future will bring. Hopefully the Sabres can kind of get hot here. They've already won 3 straight. Hopefully they can get hot here at home, kind of sneak into the playoff picture. We're approaching halfway through the season. We're about just over 30 games in. So Sabres are sitting at 500, which is last in the Eastern Conference still. But yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think everyone should be able to be interested to see what Yarmo does as the new general manager of the Sabres. If you like the video, make sure to drop a like. It would really help me out. Make sure to drop a sub and follow me on all my platforms. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.